Okay, welcome everyone.
Did you get new did you get new earbuds, Ryan?
No, I just don't have it on earbuds. Does this sound better or the
Yeah,
earbuds
no,
sound better?
you sound really, really clear.
Okay, well I just usually use these JBL headphones here, but I
Okay.
decided not to put them on. If it sounds better, I'll stick with that.
Yeah, you sound great.
Yep.
Okay, my good phone. Okay. Um, so do we have declaration of conflicts of interest? Um, do we have any of that? Or hello?
No conflicts.
No,
No.
like here.
Okay. And approval of the last minutes. I was just looking at them here. Oh,
I move we adopt the minutes as Sharon graciously composed and typed them up, and that was a lot of work, and I really appreciate it.
okay.
We got a
Okay,
second.
and
Oh, sorry, we got a seconder?
Second.
Margaret. Richard, you seconded it?
Sure. Yep.
okay. So the approval of the agenda as well. Does anybody have anything to add to it?
Harry, did you and um, from Active Transportation, did you guys go to, or from Bike Friendly Communities, did you guys go to that meeting?
We did attempt to go. We had permission to go, and then the meeting got like rescheduled. And sorry. And Mitch attended the rescheduled meeting, and I listened in for a bit. So,
Oh.
and I did get a copy of the 5-year plan. I don't know if you all received that in an email from me earlier today.
I think we did. Or
Yeah, Ramona got that to me just yesterday, and so I haven't had a really good chance to really take a look at it and see what all those streets are. But it's by year, which and it includes both sidewalks and multi-use pathways.
Okay, so do you want to
Okay.
report on all of that under Bike Friendly Charlottetown or Bike Friendly Communities?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it that I had for the agenda.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So I guess we can start reporting on the department liaisons.
Did we have,
Do we have a report?
did anybody,
What were you gonna say?
just a sec, did anybody move to approve the agenda? Or do you have to?
Yeah, somebody approves it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was approved.
Oh,
I think we did both of them at the same time, didn't we?
okay. I just didn't hear. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So moving on to reporting from department liaisons, do we have a report for Public Works?
Nothing from me. Something I was going to mention. If somebody wanted to, has anybody talked about kind of moving some portfolios around? Or I was just going through the minutes there, and I noticed a little bit of talk. Did I know since we've had some change and our new members are here, kind of maybe got some of the ropes over the past few months. Is anybody interested in moving out of some portfolios or taking something on?
We need somebody for Parks and Recreation. We need somebody for Public Works. I've been sustainability, and I'd like to stay with that because I find it easy to work with Ramona. It's my comfort level. If that's okay with the task force members.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm happy to take on anything, but I would like sort of just some contacts so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. Whatever I take over, more than happy to do so. But if I can get sort of some details from the person who was doing it previously, I can pick up, and we will have a relationship with those people anyway. So it makes sense.
I feel the same way. I could do either Public Works or Parks and Recreation. I just, doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's just a matter of checking in with them once a month, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I can pick Public Works.
Sure.
And I can always be a seconder if nobody else is there that needs it. Like I can, because that's what Peter and I did. We both kind of did it for, I think it was Public Works. Like I can still do that. Just have to phone more.
Okay, that'd be great.
So does that leave me with Parks and Recreation?
Yes, Richard.
That's
Yep.
perfect. Who was doing that before, Ryan?
Ooh,
think
I
that
thought it
that
was, wasn't
Peter.
it you, Jason?
Sorry, I just got my attention.
Wasn't it
taken away.
you? I thought you might have been Parks or Rec.
I believe that was
That's
Peter,
right,
wasn't it?
Yeah, Peter.
Peter, yeah.
I'm
It
still,
was, we were Parks and Rec then,
it's
yeah.
Parks and Rec.
Would
Okay,
you,
I will contact Peter Rucavina then and get some information about contacts and so on, and then I can do that. So as Sharon said, the job is what, to check in with them once a month?
Yep, ask them if there's
Yep.
any updates for the task force, or if
Okay.
there's something that we're asking you to contact them about. I guess we as cyclists quite often see things in the, excuse me, in the field, or deficits or things that we think should be addressed. And we would either do it at the meeting or write it to you on Teams and ask you to contact the head of public or of Parks and Rec, and go about it that way, so that we're not all sending emails to the department heads. It's filtered through you, Richard.
Okay.
Parks and Rec. That's wonderful. And Sharon, that's wonderful if you do Public Works. So Sharon, you'll get to meet Scott Adams in January.
okay.
And we had the Parks and Rec person. Richard, were you on board when we had that person?
No.
Okay. Who was that again? Parks and Rec that we had back in.
Oh, Frank.
Oh, right, Frank Quinn. So Richard, well, you can talk to Peter. He'll tell you whatever. But then you can reach out to Frank Quinn just by email and introduce yourself as the liaison person for the active transportation task force. And
Perfect.
yeah, that you've stepped in from where Peter Rucavina left off. That'd be great. And I think Frank Quinn works quite closely with Nancy McMinn, who also supervises, like, say, the maintenance of the Confederation Trail through the city of Charlottetown. Those two people.
Got it. Thanks.
And cycling PEI, who is the liaison?
I'm the liaison for that. I have a pretty good relationship with Mike.
That would be my
Jason,
conflict.
just for your information, I believe that Mike is no longer in the same role he was there, and now Cynthia Dunsford is
Yep, I know.
currently acting. Okay.
She's great to deal with.
I
Yeah.
know her too.
Does she
I
go
think
by
that's interim,
Cynthia
I'm not
King?
sure.
Does she go by Cynthia?
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, that was my mistake. I knew
Okay,
her
so
before.
she's now cycling PEI.
She's interim. Is it executive director? I'm not sure. They're in the process of changing a few roles, I guess. So it's not settled as to who will be in that role permanently, I think.
Okay, so Carrie, is that at sport PEI? Like, for instance, Mike Connolly would have had 4 sports. He would have had tennis way back when, and he would have had cycling and something else. Or is this just the organization?
As far as I know, it's just cycling PEI.
Must
not
be just
really
the
sure.
organization.
Yeah, it's just cycling.
Okay. I only know because we've been working with Cynthia with my BFC hat on a few new
Good.
things. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe Jason, would you reach out and tell her about us, the task force?
Yeah,
and
sure.
just make a liaison contact if she thinks there's anything related to the Charlottetown active transportation that we should be updated on. Because I'm wondering, Carrie, do you know, does that person sit on the provincial active transportation board? Do you know?
From cycling PEI? Not in any of the meetings I've had with the provincial AT people.
Okay.
It's just been government people there, but I don't know for sure.
No, you'd know. Okay, that's good. So you got, okay, well, I'm going to ask you some questions later. Thank you.
Okay. So with that being said, is there a report for Public Works, or are some of these kind of vacant as we don't have reports? Is that kind of correct?
Well, Ryan, just to update you, as a follow-up to our last meeting on November the 19th, I wrote to Ramona Doyle and Katrina, and I said another recommendation from the task force meeting was that the public be notified of any active transportation route closures, and that the city should come up with an alternative route and advise the public, similar to when there's street closures. So that was number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, I said another observation was that, no, that's not it. Okay. No. Okay, so it was just mainly that. And Scott Adams has been developing a plan that looks like both sidewalks and multi-use. Okay, so I got that from the, okay, so other than what Carrie sent to us, that's sort of a public works bike-friendly communities, but the it was in the newspaper that Scott Adams had been developing a plan that looks at both sidewalks and multi-use pathways depending on the area. It would require spending $3 million annually for a period of 5 years, and over that time would add 18 kilometers of active transportation infrastructure to the city. And that was in the newspaper. I got that out. Carrie, does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay.
That's yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, do you want to talk about the plan now or wait till?
No, I'm just putting that in under Public Works for the minutes.
Yes. So there is a 5-year plan. Just it has not been passed. It went to city council last night, but they deferred the vote on it. They wanted more time for it to be discussed at the committee level, is what Ramona told me. So it's not passed yet, what the one that I sent. Sorry, got background noise happening.
That's okay.
Hopefully it's not too distracting. I did send, just a follow up under Public Works, I did also submit the recommendation about the crosswalks, the crossings of the Confederation Trail. And I did find out that the one I mentioned in Winslow is provincial jurisdiction. But I got in touch just on a personal, like not as a task force member, but just on a personal level with Brian Thompson and Stephen Yo at the province, and they were super responsive when I wrote about my issues, like trying to cross at this intersection. And they got back to me the same day. They said they were aware of the intersection. They acknowledge that safety is a concern, and they are planning to have an engineer come and take a look and see what might be the best approach for that crossing. So I was really impressed, pleased with the response there. So.
Okay. And is that the thing mentioning about because we also talked in the meeting about the yellow crosswalks. Like, was that the same thing? Like the one at the airport?
Yeah, so we submitted, or I submitted on our behalf, a recommendation that they do that to all of the crossings in Charlottetown. And so that recommendation has gone to the committee. And I don't know if it's gone any farther than that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but this crossing in particular at Winslow is a provincial one, so that's
Okay. So it's pending approval. Okay.
I can see. Yeah.
Yep. Good. That sounds right. Okay. Is that all for Public Works, or do we have anything else to add?
The only thing I was just kind of wondering, just after reading that attachment you put, Carrie, the plan that they had recently announced with the city talking about them putting in the active transportation trail up University Avenue. I don't see that in that document you presented. Are they doing that under some kind of other separate budget?
My understanding was that it was part of that same deal, but maybe not.
Because I see Capitol Drive and University Avenue, but that would be just the small part from like North
There is
River Road.
another one. No, that's North River
Okay.
Road. Oh, here's University Avenue from Capitol Drive to the mall.
Yeah, I see that part.
Yeah.
I was just kind of wondering because that seemed like a real like if that project alone seemed like it would be a huge budget.
Yeah, we might need to get some clarification on that.
Just curious, because this all looks really great from what I'm seeing.
Maybe that's a question we'll add to our list for Scott Adams.
Okay.
I can't yeah, I assumed it was part of the same thing, but maybe not.
Yeah, because it was a release in the newspaper saying that that was the intention, to have it go at some point from north of Houston to Belvedere. But I understood from what Scott Adams said in the newspaper a couple months ago was that the work was going to start the other way. And even the mayor said that, from Belvedere down University Avenue, because of Canada Games.
Right.
That they were going to concentrate on that corner and put active transportation pathway in around there. That's a very good question, Jason. So what do we do? Put that, how about you put that in, or Sharon, if you're keeping a separate list there, please, for our questions for Scott Adams, that we put that in there for January. Because last time Scott Adams wanted the questions from the task force ahead of time so that he was prepared when he came in the January meeting. And what he ended up doing was sending us a response, but then he responded again to each one individually at the meeting, which made for discussion. It was kind of good.
Okay, can we repeat that first question, Jason, so I have it right?
Just what funding source is the project from Belvedere down to Houston Street, the active transportation and the realignment coming from, and what are the amounts?
Okay. I got it.
Perfect. Although I am sad to see that the Towers Road, Mount Edward's in like 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about that one too.
Because that needed to be done too. Well, needed to be done 5 years ago, not 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, I
And they're
understand.
gonna have another side, like, are those houses gonna be built on that, those townhouses will be built before the sidewalk, which doesn't seem
Exactly.
very safe either.
I'm kind of thinking like it's just pavement. Like I would like to see them do something. I mean, it's good that they put up those. What are those things called that they put on the road now? Placards,
Pylons,
whatever they
something
call it.
like that.
Yeah, I'm glad to see they did put that in. That makes things a little better, but it would be nice to have some separation.
Yeah, because the amount of people that are gonna be going back and forth there will triple, and that once all those inaccessible townhouses will be built.
Yeah, and it's something that when
Yeah.
people know that I'm on the task force, when they talk to me about things, they're like, that road by the mall is really dangerous. Like I've heard that from so many people.
That one in particular was a topic of discussion at the committee, the Public Works Committee meeting, where they were discussing this. And I believe it was said the reasoning was they were waiting until the work was done to put in the AT lane so that they wouldn't have to, I guess, put it in and tear it up.
I
That
think they
was my
should.
understanding of
Yeah.
the reasoning. But it was a topic of discussion because there have been many people like asking, as you mentioned, Jason. So I think
Even
that
if
was
they
an
put-
issue they weren't agreeing on at the time.
Even if they put like the gravel base in and just had it kind of like the trail for now, like something to get people off that road, because man, it's dangerous.
Why don't you put that question as well to Scott Adams for January?
Yep, I can write that in.
That's a good suggestion, Jason. That, a temporary one be installed with a gravel base.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Because they can put down that crushed up, I don't know what it's called, but it's like crushed up pavement. And they put that down in different places, and it's made as a base, and you can smooth it out. And if it gets ripped up, you just put more down or whatever until they can actually put the pavement down in a few years.
I think it's shale. What they also can do is they can put some kind of a divider up. They can get the big cement. I don't know what the term is, but you see them in parking lots. If they don't want you driving on a road, they'll put it there. They have the ability to do this.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I mean, there is a significant concern in the general population for that road and for our people using it. And many people go that way, and the trail is super dark there now too. So some people, I mean, personally, I wouldn't walk up there on the trail. I would go down that road. So they can make a real significant divider if they so wish. I know it is not that easy, but I think we can certainly try to get some traction on this. I'm not sure if it's 5 months ago or 6 months ago we were told that it was going to be in a certain budget, but it's very concerning on that road.
It is.
Very
Yeah.
concerning. And you can put those up and indicate to people that this is the path.
Mhm.
Is there any point in making a motion to go to council, or council knows our feelings anyway at this time? And I mean, we'll get to talk to Scott Adams, but I'm wondering politically, the decision is up to council. What happens? Am I right? or
It
wrong?
might be worth listing some concerns when we get to this with the when it comes from bike-friendly communities. It would be worth jotting up a list of concerns. I mean, it doesn't have to be a formal motion because, but at least it would shape the debate for the councillors. So if we say, why is the Towers Road scheduled for year 5 when it's really needed now? And similar sort of concerns like that. and just sort of give it to them as a list of concerns we have, and then they'll at least consider them, or they'll pay attention to budget and other concerns that they've got, and then we hopefully will get a response, or at least they'll shift a bit.
I wonder if it would be helpful to schedule the January, well, like the January meeting is probably scheduled after the town council meeting. Is that correct? Okay, so it would be, even if we did it, it would be for the February meeting if we wanted to bring the concerns to the council.
Well, I don't know if that's right.
If that's how to do it, yeah.
Well, we could jot down some points right now and forward it off to the mayor, or
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the mayor is technically a member of this committee, and he
Mhm.
can just give it to them and say, I don't know anything about this one way or another, but at least think about these issues, because the people who
Perfect, yeah.
Okay, so we'll do that at the end of this meeting under new
And
business.
it was, I'm not sure if anyone did notice this, but there was quite a debate. There was a lot of comments. I believe it was in Ask PEI or it was on Twitter about that exact road. I'm thinking maybe a couple of weeks ago. Several people said that they had experiences that were not positive, and that they are refusing, not, or the people on cycles are walking, but also many drivers shared a concern and said that they avoid the road totally and whatnot. So I think it is correct. Like, we need to send that right straight through to the mayor, ask the questions and ask where we are with it. And we know there's a right way to do things. But we do know by times we are called, and all of us are called to put temporary measures in place. So progress, can it happen? And so that safety and security can be felt by all people. And I really, I just find that road has come up so many times and so much energy. And when we can actually go back and find out people sharing lived experience regarding it, then that's something to be said for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and putting our weight behind it as well would certainly help. So he's getting feedback from the public, but then also from our committee, which is meant to look at these things.
Okay. Okay, and how about Parks and Rec? Do we have a report for Parks and Rec?
Well, I didn't get anything back, and anyway, I haven't followed up, but I just wanted to share that I sent the 2 motions that we had worded last time to Ramona Doyle on November the 18th, and she wrote back saying that she had sent them onward. Oh, this one went on to, I'm going to back up a little bit. Sorry, Sharon. I hope your minutes are okay. Before we do Parks and Rec, Ryan, this one, Ramona sent to Scott Adams of Public Works.
Okay.
As a task force, you recognize the closure and you don't of Richmond Street to vehicles and bicycles during the summer season. However, discussions have occurred at City Hall where applications for pedestrian-only streets be entertained for Sydney Street and or the historic part of Great George Street. I said, we are concerned as to what these future streets might look like if they were authorized, and we want to ensure that bicycles and other users be permitted on a designated pathway. So Ramona wrote back from that motion that went to Public Works. Okay, so the other motion we had from November the 19th was, if the province of PEI authorizes horses on the Confederation Trail or not, the mayor's task force on active transportation recommends horses should not be allowed on the Confederation Trail within the city of Charlottetown. So that went to Parks and Recreation, and I haven't heard back. So, that other one, Scott Adams, so that would be my question for him, I guess. when we come to make questions in January, is to follow up on the, whether, pedestrian only streets are permitted. Okay, and then another one, okay, nope, that's sustainability, sorry. So that's all I have for Parks and Rec, and Richard's gonna take over from that.
Yeah. Do you
Okay.
want to follow up with horses, Joanne?
If that's done anything, oh, that would be great.
Okay, it's also a good excuse for me to introduce myself. Right?
Yeah, ask Frank Quinn if he has a copy of the resolution, thanks, and ask them if they've passed it through council or recommended to council.
Okay, will do.
Thank.
Can't see why they would approve that, but hopefully. Okay. Okay. And so that's all for Parks and Rec. Okay. And okay. Oh, am I freezing or no? You can hear my voice?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that's all for Parks and Rec. Moving on, how about police? Do we have a report for police?
I have nothing to report. I had a couple people reach out to me about a new build, or I think it's actually a new build and a construction or add-on to a property down around Queen Elizabeth Drive. They're parked all over the road in the active transportation lane. So I just kind of questioned that with the bylaw officer, and it seemed like it was a little bit better, or that was the report back to me.
Okay.
Other than that, I didn't have anything else.
Okay. 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 Yeah, the there's not much on the police right now. Okay. So I guess we can move next to sustainability. Do we have a report for sustainability?
Okay. I didn't give, I'm so busy talking at the last meeting, I didn't give you what Ramona had given me for the November one. Other than to say that the sustainability budget for 2022-23 capital budget would be reviewed by the committee in November. And she said, we haven't looked into the helmet signage further, but she'll update us when they get to that one. Ramona said, this Ramona Doyle said that the province has announced the deadline for the provincial active transportation fund was December 3rd. And I sent that to Carrie in case they needed to know that for the bike friendly communities. Ramona said that she's hoping that they were going to submit what didn't get funded last year, the Capitol Drive, Raiders Row, Victoria Park design, modular block pilot on Maple, and the Simmons Pathway restoration. And those were projects that we had worked in consultation with mainly Mitch Underhay, with the bike friendly community. And he had presented to council as well as to us an extensive recommendation on where strategically the city could start installing pathways, shared pathways in the city, particularly bike routes and bike pathways. So the ones I just listed there, Capitol Drive, Raiders Road, Victoria Park design, the modular block pilot on Maple, and Simmons Pathway restoration. Richard and Sharon, what mainly Mitch was looking at, I think, was accessing pathways to hubs such as schools, colleges, universities. And for instance, the Simmons Pathway restoration would take a cyclist to Queen Charlotte School by way of Victoria Park, and on from Queen Charlotte School along, I think it's Newland Crescent there, I'm not sure, but to Colonel Gray. So in trying to secure funding from the national active transportation, you're making purposeful trips as well as from the provincial active transportation. And so the city had, put forward proposals from that fund. Anyway, we worked on that pretty intensely a year ago. And so they obviously have reapplied for that for this year. I contacted Ramona yesterday, and she told me work has started on phase 2 of the bypass highway active transportation path. That's the section that goes from the Norwood Road to Brackley Point Road and then connects to Maple Hills Avenue. They are doing excavation and shale now, and the rest will be done in the spring. All the applications have been submitted for the PEI Active Transportation Fund. That's what I was telling you about. One was November and this is December. Ramona said they included in the request 4 e-bikes in our capital budget for next year. She said she's not 100% sure it will get approved, but we'd like to have some for testing out how they could be used in our operations. Do you remember Peter Ruckabina saying at the last meeting, for instance, why didn't Parks and Recreation have access to a bike or an electric bike where they could go on the trail and observe if, for instance, it needed maintenance and where it needed maintenance? So I don't know if that's the intention of the e-bikes, but anyway.
Yeah, like troubleshooting issues.
So I think that's pretty forward thinking. So that's all I have from sustainability.
Okay. Great. And just clarifying, so you were talking about a pathway from Norwood to Brackley Point Road? Like,
Yes, that's
are you
phase
sure? Yeah, I'm not, like, is that down the highway, like where the overpass is that connects, like all the way to the hospital that takes you, if you could, takes you all the way to like the industrial park? Like, is that the pathway that they're talking about? I'm just trying to visualize it in my mind.
It's
Because
by the
Norwood
airport.
is,
The airport, Ryan, Maple Hills Drive.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay, so I'm just trying to picture where it would be, like where so would it be like through that fenced off area that's by the airport that, would it be kind of connected through that? Because I'm just trying to picture where it would be, and I'm just,
the part they're
if it was
working on right now, Ryan, is right next to the bypass, right next to that fence of the airport.
Okay.
Like on the top of the
Okay.
hill kind of thing. And I think it's supposed to go up to the intersection with the overpass, like where Norwood Road, like the overpass there, but I don't know how that's supposed to connect.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking, wouldn't it have to be at the very top of Norwood, where like the airport is, and then you'd cut through there? That's a long way, but it would take you eventually. It would take you to Brackley Point Road. Like, I'm
No, it's not
kind of
up there.
concerned.
No, that's not what they're doing, I don't think. I'm not quite sure. I remember someone, Ramona, at one point explaining perhaps how they were going to connect it up to
Yeah.
the roundabout at St. Peter's Road via Norwood Road. I don't
Okay.
really know
Okay.
how it gets through the bridge,
Mhm.
like the overpass.
I'm just trying to look at it on a map, and it's not clear.
Yeah. I mean, I see where they're working on it every day. At
Do you know
Longmont
what?
Stretch by the airport.
We could ask Scott Adams to bring us that information for the January.
That would be
meeting.
perfect.
They're good
That can be
questions.
another question request. An explanation of phase 2
Okay.
and show us.
Yeah, because more clarification of just exactly where it is, I think, will be better in the long run for us.
Yep.
Okay.
I got
And
that.
okay. Okay, and okay. And cycling PEI. We have a cycling PEI report.
No, and I emailed Mike just to make contact with him, and I figured Cynthia might be linked to her, but it bounced back on me, so I'll put a call in and get the appropriate content. Their information on their website's not updated either. So
Okay.
And you know what, please, Jason, will you mention that to Cynthia?
yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, and next moving on to I think it BFC, bike friendly community.
Thanks, Ryan. Is this where you would like me to talk a little bit more about this plan? I don't.
Certainly.
Now, the meeting that I listened to the live stream, this was the Public Works Committee meeting where Scott, my understanding was he was going to present the plan to them, but what actually happened was they all had a piece of paper in their hand, which I, on the computer watching the live stream, could not see, and he was just answering questions about it. But I did take a couple notes. Oh, honey, this is, no, mommy's got to share a little bit of information first. Yeah, and then I'll be able to help you, okay? So just give me 1 second.
All right.
Oh, while Carrie's looking after her little fella, we don't have a vice chair either. Like Ryan, you're great for chair. I don't want personally, I don't want to change that, but we need a vice chair going forward too.
Okay. Anyone want to be a vice chair?
I'm happy to do it if people want somebody with very little experience so far.
I nominate Richard Raisdale to be vice chair of the mayor's
Okay.
task force. We got a seconder?
And yeah, we can communicate as well through if we both have issues or because we will need that communication.
Sure.
So I think you're a great person to do that.
Okay.
I second it.
Oh, good. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Right.
Aye. And while we're on that, Sharon, I'll do the January meeting, everybody. I'll do the minutes. Sharon's graciously done the heavy lifting through November and December, and I really appreciate that too. But I'll change it up if you don't mind, and I'll do the minutes for January.
Sure.
Okay. The idea is we all take turns.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, I'm so
I thought
sorry.
it was on
everyone.
for a year or something, so.
So in the spirit of taking turns, then, how do we want to do that?
Probably just month to month. Margaret?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want me to take I can do May or March. It starts with M.
Oh,
Good
let's
idea.
put you down for March.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody for February?
I'll do January and February. How about that?
I'll do April.
Is that you, Sharon?
Yes.
Oh, good. Jason, how are you getting along with getting everybody on Teams? Where are we at with that?
I got the admin panel resolved with Ramona, and I got in and I've emailed that information off. So I put in my cell phone number if anybody's having any issues to give me a call or text me.
Okay. Will you, I don't work, I can post stuff on that. I'm just not very good with sending emails or getting them or knowing.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any questions, I'll just put my cell number out to the chat we had earlier going on.
Yep.
And if any of you have trouble, just text me and we'll work through it.
Could you please send us all each other's email for Teams?
So it's your first name
Yes.
at theactivecity.ca.
Okay.
Thank you.
But, and another question, Jason, like, because I remember, like, last year, it, like, emailed and sent us an update when somebody, like, tagged us in anything. I don't know if it does that anymore. Is there a way to change that?
It should. If you're not getting, check your email for Teams. It should be there.
Okay.
Because basically what'll happen is if you don't reply to the message on Teams within a certain amount of time, it sends you an email.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you get onto that by going to Portal Office? Is that how we get onto our email?
Exactly. That will get you, if you go to portal.office.com, that will get you into your email, any of the documents we have, the Microsoft Teams. If you don't have it installed on a computer, you can do it through the web. Everything is in that portal.
Okay.
Yeah, like I have it on my phone here, and like I just it's an app as well, and I just have it on the app here, and it looks fine.
Yeah, I could do the chat on the app last year and the year before. I just haven't used it very much this term, let's say, since the summer.
Yeah,
Okay.
check it out. The other
But the
nice thing
app
about-
was very handy, Sharon and Richard, if we were dealing with anything.
The other nice thing about it too is if we ever want to hold some impromptu meetings, we can do it through the app very easily.
Okay.
It doesn't mean we have to meet every month. Like maybe we have a question, we could all meet. You know, it doesn't have to be like long like we do once a month. We could even do like
20 minutes.
just something quick.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I was just using up time there while Carrie's dealing with a couple of things. Do we want to maybe, Ryan, move ahead to questions for Public Works, kind of smooth that out while we're waiting for Carrie, the next item there?
I'm happy to
Oh, there she is.
yeah, I'm back.
You're back.
I apologize for that.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
He's usually pretty good, but I guess it's a long time for a 5-year-old to be told just a minute. So, okay. So I took some notes just from Scott's introduction, just to give some context to this 5-year plan. This plan is for it only applies to brand new sidewalks or pathways. It's not including anything where there's already a sidewalk that just needs to be replaced or something like that. So this is all new infrastructure. And the prices, they did estimate them high just to have some wiggle room. The criteria that it's based on, the choices of where they're putting things, are areas around school zones, high vehicle traffic areas, densely populated or residential areas, or disconnected, like sidewalks that exist but that don't connect to any other sidewalks, for example. So I guess it's about creating connections. The way that that it was divided up over the 5 years was to kind of spread the funds around, distribute the funds to strategic locations. So for example, they're going to get all of the things they want to do in Hillsborough Park will take place over 4 years. So they've spread it out. Does that make sense? They didn't do all just one area of the city in 1 year.
Yeah.
Once it's not set in stone, these things could shift. For example, if water and sewer needed to work in an area the same year, then they could shift projects around if necessary. Once approved by council, this would be shared with Maritime Electric, Parks and Rec, all the utilities, so that they can figure that out if they need to make any adjustments. So that was his introduction. And then the questions that the other members of the committee asked, one of them asked about, for example, the very first one on the list is Centennial Drive, which is a sidewalk, not a multi-use pathway. But, you know, they're just questioning, do we need to spend $440,000 on this whenever there's only 12 houses on that street, and whenever there's there was some talk, I think there's a long-term care facility there maybe, that those residents that are housebound is the concern. Scott Adams' reply is kind of, I'm just mentioning this because it really gave, his reply was really similar to kind of certainly my own views, is that if you're not seeing people use the walking there, which was the concern, people don't use that road, so why are we putting a sidewalk there? Well, his reply was, if there's a safe sidewalk for them to use, they will use that road. The reason that it's not being used right now is because there's no safe way to use it. And also he stressed that they're not putting a sidewalk there for the 12 residences that live there. There's a connection between different parts of the city for others to use for purposeful trips. So that his line of thinking there was very much, I think, aligned with what we're trying to do, which was great. And that applies to like a lot of these examples in the plan. He also used the phrase, if you build it, they'll come, which we've used about the Hillsborough Bridge, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So I think his thinking is very much along the same lines as ours. There was, Towers Road was brought up that night, as I mentioned before, and it's certainly a topic of conversation. Conversation got a little heated at that point. And
it got heated between who?
I can't recall, and it was difficult for me to tell with the live stream who was saying what sometimes.
It was council.
But I guess it was, there seems to be some other things going on there beyond just safety. I guess this was a public live stream, so we're only discussing stuff that was there. But what did I say in my notes? So someone did mention the same concern we had with Towers Road being only in year 5. And I think the justification was, as I said, the ongoing work there, the APM project, I believe it is. And another councillor claimed that this concern has been artificially inflated as a priority due to another councillor who was not present. And it's unclear to me who we're talking about. I'm not the best person to ask. Other people said, well, no, it actually is an area of concern. So there seems to be some history to this particular street. And if we're going to, maybe we need to learn more about what the situation is, if we're going to make a recommendation. I'm not sure. Maybe Scott Adams could help clarify for us what the reasoning is for that road being 5 years down the road. But
there is documents, there is press around it, and what I could find out was that Mitch Tweel was the one advocating for it.
Okay.
It also, if you look at the documents you gave us, Carrie, that one is year 5, but it is the only one after year 1 which says already designed. So they've already spent money designing it.
Yes, you're right.
So presumably they could move faster on that than they could have moved on some of the other ones because nobody's done a design it.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
we did
it's-
have a price. We had a price, I think last year we were told the reason they couldn't do it, it was too late, and that stretch from A to B was, I forget the amount of money. Like that's what we heard last year. So it is correct that it has been designed and that it couldn't fit into the funding last year. So that's what we were told this year.
Hmm.
Like, you know, that it was going to be done.
So presumably the ones which say designed were already listed as high priority at some point because somebody paid for them to be designed.
I think this is the first time that they've actually had this kind of broad vision 5-year plan made.
Okay.
Because Scott mentioned that it's something council's been asking for a while when he presented it. So I do know that, yeah, if I look at the ones that say they were designed, it's Capitol Drive, it's University Avenue, it's kind of connected to that Capitol Drive area.
Mm-hmm.
As well as the Grafton one, which is connected to the bridge, right? The Hillsborough Bridge.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, so those were projects that were on the horizon, but this is the first time it's all been like put into a plan like this. So I think yeah, if the other ones haven't been designed yet, I think it's because they're all new ideas.
Okay.
So, Carrie, you said that this is all about putting in new sidewalks. I'd be really interested to see all of this stuff on a map, just so you've got a sense of what's connected. Because really, I mean, the build it and they'll come is right, I think. But I mean, if I was a parent or somebody, I'd be thinking, okay, is it safe for my kid to get all the way from place A to place B using a bike? And if it's just sort of 2/3 of the way, then I'd sort of say no, right? I mean, we've got a lovely, shiny, active transportation lane 2/3 of the way, and then after that, they're on the road. I mean, it's got to go somewhere, right? I would think the priorities should be routes which go somewhere, first and foremost. You know, either linking things up with the Confed Trail or to schools and clubs or to highways or whatever. But just so that people will say, okay, I'm going to take my bike to do this because I know it's safe, right?
Absolutely. And I also would love to see this on a map because I have a real hard time picturing like visually what is going on when I just look at a list.
Yeah,
of
I'm
streets.
just Googling everything.
Yeah. And I must assume that Scott would have this on a map somewhere.
Yeah.
And so maybe we can ask if he does, if he could share that with us, even in advance of our meet, or even just for our meeting with him.
So
Because I think he did say one of the goals was to try to make connections. So I'm hopeful that if I had this on a map, we would see that they did that in some, at least part of the cases.
so we'll put that as one of the questions for Scott.
Sharon, can we actually ask Scott? He's presenting to us in January.
Yes.
So can we actually put that request in now that he come to the meeting with the map?
Yes, I think these questions, Margaret, are going to go to him prior to the meeting.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
exactly.
No, that's
Sorry.
okay.
I
So-
got it.
Hi, Mayor Brown.
Excuse me for being
Whatever.
late. I was at the Special Olympics Christmas social down at the Delta.
Nice.
So I
Oh.
just popped right in to see what's going on. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And to you.
We're just taking a look, Mr. Mayor, at the 5-year plan that we just got a hold of from Ramona that Scott Adams presented. I understand it hasn't been voted on yet. Is that by council? Is that correct?
It was deferred at last night's meeting, regular monthly meeting for December. And we had a Public Works and Beautification Standing Committee meeting today. And it will be presented in January. Basically the same plan with lots of room to make changes or amendments to it. So I think I heard you say, Carrie, before I turned on my camera, that you want Scott Adams to come in and give an overview of the 5-year plan.
Well, he is scheduled to come to our January meeting just as a regular thing. So just as part of our questions for him, I think, well, we haven't actually developed them all yet, but one thing we said is it would be nice to see this visually on a map instead of a list. And I don't know if that exists, or if you know if that exists already.
No, I think we're just we're continuing to we're continuing to connect the dots, and I think there's no master plan, and I believe I think Richard was talking about let's look at a master plan for the whole city. That's definitely required. As you know, we are building constructing the active transportation pathway running parallel to the arterial highway. They're up to Brackley Point Road now, and they plan to go north on Brackley Point Road to connect to that existing active transportation pathway that goes out to Brackley and then just stops in the middle of nowhere. And then from Brackley Point Road and the arterial highway, we're planning to run it to or connect it with the Confederation Trail on the corner of Mount Everett Road and the arterial highway. But definitely need a plan to connect the dots and at least give a skeleton presentation or provide some connectivity to the active transportation pathway that we're installing all over the city.
Yeah, I think that was one reason we were hoping if there is a map that exists that we could look at it that way. It might be easier to see where the connections are, where they're needed the most, and in this plan.
Yeah. Carrie, I don't think there is a map. I think that's
Okay.
something this task force would discuss with Scott and incorporate it in the 5-year plan for streets, sidewalks, and active transportation pathways. And
Like an overview template kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, you know that we have the active transportation pathway coming in from the west of Cornwall, and it connects down to the Queen's Arms Motel. And Ramona would love to connect that section at the Queen's Arms Motel intersection with the old Peter Pan intersection, and then run again from that intersection to the Confederation Trail via Spencer Drive.
That would make so much sense, actually.
Yeah. And then if we could continue to connect on the east side from the Hillsborough Bridge along Riverside Drive, continue right up to St. Peter's Road and the arterial highway, St. Peter's Brackley Point Road and the arterial highway, and then the final phase would be connecting Brackley Point Road and the Mount Everett Road via the arterial highway, again, all using that spine that runs through the city and it's called the Confederation Trail.
Okay.
So is this plan, it wasn't voted, it was deferred. Do you, it's, Ramona said it was going to go back to committees for discussion?
It's back. It went to the standing committee for the public works and beautification, and that happened today at noon hour. And there was a lot of discussion, and the chair and the committee made the decision to send it back to council as is. But I think it would be very appropriate for this task force to speak to Scott before we meet in January as
When,
a special meeting at council.
Okay, yeah.
Is that meeting? 'Cause
I look at there's January, it would be.
I just asked because, yeah, we are meeting with Scott in January. I'm just wondering which one comes first.
Yeah, what date?
Council's first. Council's what? The second Tuesday or the second Monday of the month, Philip?
It's the 10th.
It's the 10th.
Yeah,
See,
we're the 18th.
Yeah, we're the third Tuesday.
Would you think about, would you consider looking at the 4th or the 5th? Or the 6th of January?
Well,
I could do that.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah.
I wonder, is Scott available to meet with us?
Oh, Kerry said he's available in January.
Mhm.
And if you send out a notification or a request to meet in that first week in January, Scott would try to pencil it in or put it part of his agenda for January.
Yeah. Like we were gathering up the question to ask him before the meeting so that he would be fully ready and prepared. So we were doing that anyways, but if to move it before the council meeting would probably be more efficient. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
Yeah.
will be, Ryan, and that will be the discussion. I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussion about the 5-year plan and how some wards will be in year 3 or year 4, and others might be in Ward 1, and might be in year 1, year 2. So I think that I keep promoting the pathways, because concrete sidewalks, I think they're becoming a thing of the past.
They're passe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
It's
was,
easier to
Yeah, and
maintain.
if you need somebody to talk about them not positive, you can always get me wheeling down some of the old ones and going through the cracks and falling. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
there are an awful lot of sidewalks on this plan.
Oh, I know.
Is that
Like-
a money justification? Are they less
Well-
expensive?
Well, concrete is more expensive than asphalt.
Okay.
I know that because that's one of our businesses. So, and Mr. Adams tried to tell me that no, they're the same cost. No, they're not the same cost of materials.
Is it a question of space then for the width of the pathway?
So a sidewalk is 1.2 meters wide, about 5 feet, and your pathway is 6 to 8 feet wide. So.
I guess these might be questions for Scott Adams as well
Yeah.
in January.
See, I just jumping in from one of our previous discussion when we were looking at this, we talked about, for instance, Centennial Drive and, only having a certain number of houses. But Carrie made a really good point about connectivity, and if you build it, they will use it. And as Belvedere Avenue exists now, I mean, I cycle it all, but but it could be very intimidating for people, and quite often there's gravel on it and whatnot. But if you could just go a little bit up Maple and then scoot down Centennial, you know, you can go up the hill and get onto the path or to the Confed Center or the Confederation Trail, pardon me. You know, I can see the value of Centennial Drive and also the
Yeah.
nursing home. Yeah, there's residents in bed, but there's also active residents
Yeah.
in that nursing home that would benefit from wheelchair and wheelchair accessibility.
Yeah.
And as Ryan
Absolutely.
accurately pointed out, all those bumps, even a stroller, all those bumps on a sidewalk are, you know, prohibitive. You're way off better with a pathway. And, you know, if the councilors and the residents of the city got used to seeing some pathways, I bet you they'd advocate for more.
So Joanne, on that, at our meeting last week for Public Works, I said just what you said, that the Centennial Drive sidewalk or active transportation pathway connects Maple Avenue with Mounted Road. And then when you head north on Mounted Road, you get up to Towers Road and Montgomery Drive. Towers Road should also be an active transportation pathway, not year 5, it should be in, I said year 1 or year 2.
Well, Mayor Brown, we have
We
had
were talking about this all night.
15 or 20
Yeah.
minutes. We've been on this
Yeah.
all night. And Margaret Gallant made some really good
Yeah.
suggestions here that you could use crushed pavement there as a temporary, and
Asphalt millings.
and Jason, everybody had input into that. So would it help you if this task force sent you an email saying that from our deliberations tonight, we feel strongly that this should be a priority of council?
Yeah.
Would that help?
Send it to the chair, Terry McLeod, and the members of the committee, Councillors Yankoff, Councillor Kevin Ramsey, and Councillor Mike Duffy, and myself. And I wouldn't use crushed millings. On Towers Road, the ditch has to be filled in, and as soon as you fill in the ditch, you just spread the gravel and sand and then gravel, and then pave over it. There's your active transportation pathway from Mounted Road to Towers Road. And
even if
Towers Road connects to, at the end of Towers Road, you connect to the spine of the whole city, and that's the Confederation Trail.
And even if the pavement does get messed up during construction, they can always come back and repave it or patch it later. It's not like the whole thing's going to be destroyed.
Did you see what they did out on the arterial highway by the hospital? QEH?
No.
With a
No.
new pathway? Yeah,
No.
the district heat had to put in a new line, so they dug up the new pathway
Yeah.
Mm.
and repaved it, and you wouldn't know it was even repaved.
So there you go. It's doable. So
The
what
question is it, we've talked around this. The question is it's the call to action is now.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why it's so far down. We
I know.
spoke about this. You spoke about this,
Yeah.
Philip, to us last year. You told us the quote for this.
Yeah.
We need some action on this. And I think the task force, it's time for us to really, really push this one forward.
And Margaret, if you look at the 5-year plan, do you have a copy of the 5-year plan, Carrie? Yeah. Look on the column, drawings submitted. There are three sites where drawings are already made up, are already completed by the engineers. Centennial Drive, Towers Road, and I'm missing one more.
And that was noted by Richard. So we've discussed it out. We do have we had a plan to send it specifically to you, but now that we know, we'll send that to Terry Bernard and the other members, and hopefully we'll get some traction.
What's the name of that committee, Mayor Brown?
It's the Standing Committee for Public Works and Beautification.
And it's Terry McLeod, Councillor Yankoff.
Councillor McLeod is the chair.
Yeah.
Vice chair is Councillor Yankoff.
Yes.
Councillor Kevin Ramsey.
Yes.
And Councillor Mike Duffy and myself.
Okay.
And the engineer, chief engineer is Scott Adams, so you should CC
Yes.
to him also.
Okay.
No, it's, and we had, if you go on YouTube and go to our meeting, I think on November 30th, we had the discussion about it. And one of the arguments made by one of the councillors was that, you know, we only have two people or one person on Centennial Drive asking for a active transportation pathway and sidewalk on Centennial Drive. Why are we doing that? And I said, okay, you want to go by numbers? Well, look at the number of emails we received from the residents of Sheradale subdivision and the surrounding neighbors that want a pathway from Mount Everett Road to the Confederation Trail via Towers Road. It's a large number of responses or emails that come in saying, build the trail or build the pathway.
Well, I think that's a priority with this committee. So I think, like I said, between myself, Sharon, Carrie, Jason, whatever, we can word our email to the committee and whatever, and we can bounce it back and improve it amongst us and send it out. So I think that will, because does that committee meet again now, or the fact that they're members of council, they're going to be voting and presenting that at your January meeting anyway. I don't see the need for us to meet with Scott Adams yet. I think we can continue our ongoing work with Scott Adams at our regular meeting on January 18th. What is that okay, Mayor Brown?
Look, if you have a recommendation from this task force to say, we want to connect the dots starting right at Centennial Drive, from Maple Avenue to Mount Everett Road, running north on Mount Everett Road up to the Towers Road, going west of the Towers Road to the Confederation Trail. It's all connecting the dots. And as for the plan on University Avenue and extending from Houston Street up north to University Avenue and Belvedere, that is still has to go to a public information consultation. So there's still a lot more work left to be done on that. But in the meantime, there's a lot more. There's lots of small pieces that can be put together to bring this whole system into an organized a system, active transportation pathway system.
Joanne, I think the biggest thing, if I'm hearing everybody, is that this Towers Road is priority number one, and it needs to be done before the council meets again, so that they understand that we are adamant that we don't want to wait till year 5. We don't want to wait another year.
No.
That everything's in place. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to add something kind of connected to this Centennial Road. Like, I'm an active transportation or wheeler around that area, and like you're talking about the Towers Road connection. But one of the other streets, like it's either Hillside or Fairview, like that's right connected to the Mount Continuing Care community, and like there's kind of a pathway through that area that connects you to the Confed Trail right there that a lot of university kids and even me, and you could even kind of use a active pathway there because a lot of people use that path, and that would connect you right to the Confederation Trail. That would connect you to that Towers Road and all that as well. And I just thought I'd mention that because it seems like you could use that instead of using Centennial Drive. I don't know if that would be easier or not, but like yeah.
It's
Mr. Mayor,
private
is that not
property.
private.
Okay.
Private,
Yeah.
it is private property, Ryan. The city, I believe, took over Towers Road
We did.
at 3 years ago or something.
No,
I'm
more.
not, Yeah,
was more than that. It was
that
back
is
about,
private property, Ryan, but yes, a lot of people use that trail and, yeah. It's
that's-
often muddy and not real great there, but, people are using it for sure.
yeah, and
Yeah.
those users are walking across private land.
And,
It
and
was
Okay,
one-
so I'll think about that next time I use it.
It was owned by the church and the church sold, or the Sisters of St. Martha sold it to Paul Jenkins.
Everyone uses
Okay.
it, Ryan.
yeah, and they must have some sort of an understanding, let's say, because last spring crushed gravel was put in there to help with the mud. Again, I use it regularly as well. And Ryan, I think that one of the streets you were mentioning there is Woodlawn. The students from the private school there go back and forth across Woodlawn to the Cody Banks rink all the time. For instance,
Yeah, that's the one after Fairview, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
right,
Or
right. It's up the hill. It's up the hill. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not down the
I
hill.
go that one
But
up
anyway,
that
there
frequently
must
as
be
well.
a good understanding to. It's too bad the city couldn't have something like they did Towers Row. But Sharon, I'm with you 100%. I think that's our priority one that we have to get across to this committee and to council as a whole, that the Towers Road is a safety concern. Margaret eloquently stated tonight, you know, what needed to happen there. So if we can put that into words and get that email off, that'll take.
So why don't we workshop something through Teams over the next few days, and then we can get it out maybe by the end of the week or something.
Yep.
That's great due date. Perfect.
That sounds
Okay.
great.
Sounds good.
I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay. I think is that all for bike friendly community?
I guess
Do you have
those
any
are-
else to add?
No. No. Just reporting on that.
Okay. And so then new business questions for Public Works Manager at January meeting. Do we have any more to add?
Yeah, I got a couple. I want to ask about the those sort of asphalt intrusions onto roads that I talked a little bit about last time round. Why
Yeah,
are
I
they
remember
there?
that.
Who's putting them there? And they are a safety risk, and they must be a pain in the neck to snowplows as well. I also wanted to ask about speed bumps. I mean, I like the fact that the city's been putting in these speed bumps, but it'd be really nice. Some of them have got a little space of about a foot wide for bikes to go up, and that's pretty handy. It would be, I mean, if they can do them on some streets, presumably they're easy enough to do on other streets. So I just wanted to ask about those two things. I can draft those up as formal questions and send those to the minute taker if we wish.
That'd be great. Thank you, Richard.
So Sharon, you're taking minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Sharon, do you mind, in addition to the minutes, putting these questions together and then sending them to Scott Adams at Public Works? And say in preparation of our January 18th meeting, the Active Transportation Task Force has composed the following questions. And in addition, could you bring a map of the proposed?
There is no map.
Oh yeah, there is no map. Okay, sorry.
Hang on. That there is no map doesn't mean to say we can't ask for one.
No,
We
no.
can
Exactly,
search-
that-
No,
We
right?
can ask for
They're the
one.
questions that I have, for sure. That needs to be
We-
incorporated into the 5-year plan.
And didn't we have an open streets map or something at one time? And those answers to the questions, Richard, that you did have, I think they were previously answered by Scott Adams before. I don't know if you have access to all the minutes.
I don't. I mean, Jason's just hooked me up with Teams today, so I'll have a look.
Oh, yeah. You will find some answers to that there. And I do believe that Peter, we had an open streets map at one time, didn't we? Maybe Carrie, that was someone you had. Anyway, that
We
came to my
certainly
mind.
have, we have, sorry, when I say we, I mean Bike Friendly has have a map that Mitch has put together of the current AT pathways.
Okay.
And now that this is available to us, I mean, we could certainly, I'm sure I could ask him to, and he may even want to anyway, put this into a map so he can visualize it, if that doesn't already exist.
There was an open map in there someplace.
So, I mean, I can certainly share with you our current map. It's available online, but it wouldn't have, yeah, it would just have the existing infrastructure. Regarding questions, I feel like we only got this information today. So I feel like once I take a good look at these, I may have some specific questions about specifics in this plan. Like, for example, one that's standing out to me right now is a Stockman Drive in year 4, which is just over there for me. And I mean, the Confederation Trail goes right behind Stockman Drive, so I'm not sure why Stockman Drive would need a multi-use path on it. Just sort of, that's the only one I'm just aware of because it's in my neighborhood. But do you know, like, once I get this on a map, I may have more specific questions. And I don't know if I don't necessarily know if we want to be this nitpicky.
Well,
But,
and the question I have is, okay, so we're coming up with questions for Scott Adams, just generally, as well as to this. But Mayor Brown, once this plan is passed, this 5-year plan, is it carved in stone?
No.
Okay,
No.
it's
These
just a plan.
These are always amendable. It's a guide, but
Okay.
if it's down at year 5, to get it moved up to year 3, or if it's passed, some of them will move around because of necessity relating to a safety issue. But yeah, it's a proposal. It's a roadmap. It's a sidewalk, active transportation pathway road map to give us some idea of where to move forward on providing more pedestrian, cycling, wheelchair, baby carriages, and so forth, the pathways, so we can get people moving around the city. But I really think that we have to look at something that's just general and connecting the dots. I know I just caught Rich when he was talking about we're just all over the place. It'd be nice to get something that connects the east to the west. And that's why I keep going back to the Hillsborough Bridge active transportation pathway, how it now connects to Riverside Drive, Arterial Highway, and then if we can do the other same from the west side, coming in from Cornwall, like that way you connect the whole capital region.
It makes so much sense because the way I sort of see it is it's about destinations, and if you can bike from Cornwall down to I don't know, the government buildings, people will if it's safe. And that's I think what guides so many people. Is it safe? And if it is, yeah, why not? I'll save on my gym membership and I'll just
bike.
Oh, okay. And I kind of have a question as well, and just like a general overview of these pathways, like what about lighting? Like if you were to do it in the evening, like is there going to be certain areas where there is no light, it's going to be pure dark? Like that might be, like, I don't know how to word that, but just how is lighting going to be incorporated into some of these pathways? Because sometime, like, it might be really dark and that could be an issue as well.
So have you seen the pathway from Cornwall into the North River roundabout? They
No.
erected lights all along that pathway.
Okay, okay, so,
We made a decision not to erect lights along the arterial highway because we thought we could capture the light from the street lamps that the province owns. But when you get up by Patterson Drive, you go into the back of that berm and it's completely dark. So we'll have to put lights in there.
yes,
It's a
okay,
safety and a security issue.
yep.
And
Yeah,
I totally agree with the lighting, and I know there's
Oh, yeah.
there's many different points of view on it. But for someone, like me or anyone, I just think that the safer you make
Yep.
your spaces, that is person-centered community. That is making it safe for everyone. And lighting is, I mean, it shows that if there's people feel that, they'll use it.
Yeah.
Many times people don't go to Victoria Park to walk at night now
It's
because
too
it is dark at 4 o'clock. It's bigger issue for people.
Yeah, that's why, Margaret, I mentioned if you take the pathway from Murchison Lane and when you pass the hospital, you go into that grove of trees and it's
Yeah.
camouflaged by the berm. So if you're driving along the highway, you're totally in there by yourself with no lights.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it has to be lit. And it's similar to Southdale Drive going up to Parkwood Estates. There are points along that section that are quite dark. I didn't think it would be so dark, but it is. The light from the street lamps on arterial highway are LEDs, and they just emit their light in the space that's around them. I thought it would shine further, but it doesn't. So have
So
to.
is this something that the Transportation Committee should be bringing forward? Is it already in the budget?
I would bring it up. Yeah, it's a safety and security issue.
What about like not pathways, just like sidewalks in general that have like certain areas where it's darker than other areas? Is that included as well? Because I can think of areas around my neighborhood that are like that as well, where it just in the summertime it might be more of a harbinger of street crime because there's no light there in the middle of the night kind of thing, and but it's connected to the sidewalk, so thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, good point.
So just circling back, who would like to do a resolution about the lighting? And are we going to do that tonight, or is that something we'll move on for next month?
Let's talk to Scott Adams about that.
Okay.
Yes, that it kind of putting it into a question for Scott Adams.
Okay.
Or Sharon, you may have to look at the whole pathway and identify areas where the lighting would have to be installed. It's no different than what back in 2010 when I ran for mayor. There were no lights on the Confederation Trail, and it became an issue. And now we have lighting on the Confederation Trail. So, and it's one. I think Confederation Trail runs for the 14 kilometers through the city. I don't think the whole trail is lit, but a vast majority of of the trail is lit.
And
So
I would
we're
just
not saying
ask
that
that
the whole, yeah,
we talk about it in a bigger picture, and we actually, every time that active transportation pathways are going to be made,
Installed.
that somebody does an audit or a review on the lighting. We don't take it as an after, we actually do it when we're doing the pathway.
Well, I take responsibility for that, Margaret, because I thought the lighting.
I thought I heard a little bit
No,
of
you did.
accountability
I
in your
did. I
voice.
did. Yeah,
I just wanted to get confirmation of it.
Yep. Yeah. No, you posed that statement very politically correct. It was well done because I didn't think it was required, but now when you drive along that section, I go, uh-oh, made a boo-boo. But you can always correct a boo-boo.
okay.
So you caught me.
Okay.
That's my job most days.
Do we have any more questions to think about?
I'm not sure if Sharon, if you've already got a question around this, the sidewalk versus the multi-use path. I'm just circling back to that.
Yes,
Did you already have something there?
yes. I guess in terms of how this is going to run, we could just make a document in Teams, and then
Yeah,
we can all edit,
and contribute. Yeah.
contribute. So I'll just do from what we did tonight, some general questions, and then I welcome everyone to edit or make suggestions. But we really should have a deadline for this so that we're not
Yeah.
playing with this for 3 weeks.
No.
Because we do have Christmas coming, and I
Oh.
would say that some people will not be around.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, now that we all have to stay in the province, we will be around.
Yes, true.
But in saying that, we'll maybe take.
We also want it to land on people's desks before they go away for Christmas, right? I mean, if we dump something on somebody's desk on like the 22nd, it's not going to be looked at before like January 3rd or 4th, right?
Well,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, what would you suggest to be a good deadline? Because
If you're sending anything out to the committee members, the standing committee members, you can send it out next week or the first week in January, and just ask for a response if they received it. That's all I do.
But we could also
then-
use
and-
Teams as well.
Yeah, and then as a member of the committee, I can bring it up, and I know that some councils that are asking for Towers Road to be bumped up, if they get a copy of it or find out that there is a recommendation from the Mayor's Task Force on Active Transportation, proposing that, we look at this right away instead of waiting down 2 or 3 years or 4 years down the road, it'll create a lot more discussion.
Why don't we set up our own deadline tentatively for
Yeah.
Friday to, put yay or nay or edit, I don't know. Sharon, are we putting too much pressure on you to edit that or to put an email to the
Committee members.
committee members? Or do you want me to do it, or how are you feeling on that? Because you're doing the questions for Scott Adams.
yeah,
Well, how about okay. I'll
you
word
email and
I'll
I'll
word
do
the
the
email for the committee members and I'll circulate it all to you and you can edit and whatever. And I'll get that to you by Friday and we'll send it out on Monday to the committee members. How about that? And with Scott Adams and the questions, Sharon, whenever you can get to that, I don't think he needs to see our questions before January the
Yeah.
8th or 9th or whatever we think. January, the week, I think January the 8th for the questions is lots of lead time. What do the other committee members think?
Well, I just want to say, so I just wasn't sure if we confirmed it or not. So are we having our meeting before or after the January 10th meeting?
The regular monthly meeting? Yeah,
I think
Joy-
Yeah, our regular monthly meeting, because it's on January 18th, and you stated that the council is on the 10th, so for the council meeting, so it's kind of sounded like we were contemplating moving it to the 5th, and I just wondering.
I think
Well,
I
oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that I think if the email goes to the committees regarding towers, that was our biggest priority number one. So if we can get that out, then I didn't think we would need to meet them
Correct.
because that would be in play.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah. And Sharon,
Okay.
just again, it's to connect Centennial Drive to Maple Avenue, go north of Maple Avenue, connect to Towers Road, and head to the, and go west on Towers Road to the Confederation Trail. Those are connecting the dots for that part of that, or that section of what we want to do in terms, and that there's a sidewalk, as you know, right from the corner of Belvedere Avenue and Mount Albert Road, and that sidewalk goes out, I think, out to Fern Garden Road.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and that, and I've always, and I said, I think at this meeting, I know I said it at the Environment Sustainability Standing Committee meeting, that sidewalk should be turned into a pathway, an active transportation pathway, because people assume sidewalks are just for pedestrians, which they've always been for. That's always been the purpose. So I think you have to change the use.
Okay, I'm putting that.
Okay, yeah, Fern Garden Road, I see it here.
Yeah, Fern Garden is right up by the bypass.
Yeah, that's the one. I go down that one all the time and connect on the Confederation Trail. That's
You can, that's right.
Yeah.
That's-
okay. I see it there. Google Maps is good to look up when you don't know this where the street is.
Exactly what I'm doing.
Okay.
So Joanne, just so we're clear, you're going to work on the email. I'm going to work on the questions. And it'll be strongly worded email.
Well, that's where you
Oh,
can put
get-
your input
Get
in there.
Margaret to help you with the political language.
Yes,
I've got her words tonight. Don't worry. So yeah, I'll post it on the email on Teams, and I'll do at Carrie, at Sharon, at Jason, and then that's the trickiest part I found with Teams is when you can either reply, and if we're all checking it, you'll get it. But if you put at Sharon, at Richard, at Ryan, then you'll get some sort of a notification on Teams that it's there.
It comes up right away.
And it'll email you.
Yeah, so don't forget to put that little at sign in front of each one of us.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay.
'Cause I
The other
don't
thing
know.
you can do too, so one thing you'll notice, Sharon and Richard, when you go inside Teams, we'll have a few things called channels, and channels are kind of places where you can post information that any one of us can see. It's in like our public view. If you type at channel will ping everybody. So instead of you having to go in and pick each person, if you
Okay.
put at channel, it'll say, "Hey, everybody that's in this channel, notify them."
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Jason.
And I'll do that more because I've had times where nobody responded, and that's exactly why. Okay.
Well, this has been
Well, I think we're getting close here. Does anybody have any other new business to add?
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Yes.
Christmas.
Yes.
Merry
Happy
Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. And
Holidays.
with that being said, I think the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
everyone.
safe,
Thank you.
safe
Bye.
everyone.
Talk
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye-bye.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Ooh.